Zhao Jinyu is a reincarnator and his current situation is not good. Walking through the bustling capital, his senses suddenly scream with the stench of bloodlust. Assassins are everywhere, but this is just another Tuesday for him. One lunges with a heroic fairy skill, while another unleashes an earth-shattering attack. Unfazed, Zhao Jinyu casually drops a coin, causing the two would-be killers to trip and collide with a spectacular crash that demolishes a street stall. He sighs, bored by these daily surprises. This is the price for being the son of a legendary founding minister, a centennial Grand Duke whose achievements now make the current emperor nervous enough to want his entire bloodline erased. And that, of course, includes Zhao Jinyu. He walks through the now eerily empty streets knowing more surprises await. Though his power from a past life in the Tei sect is more than enough to crush these small fry assassins, revealing his true strength would only attract deadlier foes. His only option is to play weak, making their defeats look like accidents. Frustrated with this endless cycle, he realizes there's only one way to end this permanently. A brilliant idea strikes him. If the emperor fears a powerful heir, all he has to do is become the most useless person in the capital. His new life as a degenerate begins immediately, starting with a nap on the floor. He's woken by a frantic servant screaming that an imperial edict has arrived. Zhao Jinyu yawns, assuming it's for his father, but his blood runs cold when the eunuch reads his name. The emperor, noting his good looks and kind nature, has decided to betroth him to the third princess. Zhao Jinyu is utterly speechless. His father gratefully accepts the edict, but the moment the eunuch leaves, his rage erupts. He demands to know why his son is being sold off. The duke explains this is the emperor's ploy to bind their families. Refusing would be treason. The emperor's choice is particularly cruel, as the princess is the mentally incapable Mu Liuxu, who wasn't even allowed the imperial surname. But the name hits Zhao Jinyu like a bolt of lightning. He remembers everything from his past life. She's not some idiot princess, it's all an act to protect herself. This is Mu Liuxu, the woman who will one day lead a successful rebellion and become an out-and-out tyrant. The thought of fighting his own beautiful wife in the future is less than appealing, so he devises a new plan. He will help her avoid her dark path. He turns to his father and declares with genius intellect that they should just rebel now. His father's face turns to stone before he roars that he'll beat his stupid son to death. Meanwhile, in another part of the palace, Mu Liuxu receives the same news. A consort tries to console her but quickly regrets it, reminding herself she's an imperial consort, not a servant. Mu Liuxu dismisses her and confirms the groom's name, Zhao Jinyu. She is stunned. The future heavenly marshal immortal is to be her husband. In her past life, they had no connection, but now fate has intervened. She recalls that around this time, he should have been training at the legendary Tei sect. A dreadful thought occurs to her. What if he believed the rumors about her being an idiot and joined the sect just to escape the marriage? The thought of losing this chance fills her with a cold fury. Forgetting immortality, she decides she will find a way to end the Tei sect if it stands in her way. Her attendant trembles, thinking the princess must be furious about marrying a useless piece of trash. But Mu Liuxu is already decided. She orders an arrangement to meet Zhao Jinyu the next day, brushing off the rules about not meeting before marriage. The next day at court, Emperor Jia taunts Zhao Jinyu's father by calling him uncle, and then presents him with a pile of impeachment memorials, only to smugly claim he has suppressed them all. And just as the duke is making excuses for his son's absence, a guard announces his arrival. Zhao Jinyu stumbles in, completely wasted and screaming for more alcohol, leaving his father in a state of pure horror. The duke tries to shake him sober, but the emperor simply laughs it off, pleased that the capital's #1 good-for-nothing is living up to his reputation. The farce ends, and once they are away from the palace, the duke furiously grabs his son, demanding how long he'll keep up the act. Zhao Jinyu calmly explains that with the emperor's spies everywhere, the show must go on. He then reveals he'd spent the night at the Green Willow Pavilion and accidentally beat up the second son of the Ministry of War, leaving his father speechless. His tone turns deadly serious as he draws his sword, announcing that tonight, he needs to kill someone. Under the cover of darkness, Zhao Jinyu unleashes his true power. He knows that the future chaos that turns Mu Liuxu into a tyrant begins at the Tianyi Pavilion. With a single devastating slash of his sword, he obliterates the entire structure from a distance. Knowing the resulting explosion will put its master, the chaplain Tianyazi, out of commission for months. This single act will delay the chaos of his previous life for at least 2 years, but his work isn't done. He remembers that Mu Liuxu was framed by the scumbags of the Huang clan, leading her down the path of darkness. This time, he decides with a smile, he'll just kidnap her and keep her safe himself. Elsewhere, the beaten and bruised Huang Xingsheng cries to his sister, the imperial consort Huang Yurong. He explains that while plotting with his brothers at a brothel on how to frame Mu Liuxu using a poisonous insect, they were overheard by Zhao Jinyu. When he shows his sister the box Zhao Jinyu took from him, she recoils in horror, recognizing the poisonous insect she'd been secretly breeding. She realizes if the emperor finds out, she's dead for sure. But her brother twists the story, claiming he found the box in her warehouse, and that Mu Liuxu is the one practicing poison. Suddenly, their father appears, having heard their entire conversation. He tells them that since their Huang clan is supported by the emperor to counter the Zhao clan, they must use this opportunity to prove their worth. Back in her palace, Mu Liuxu prepares a cup of poisoned Yama tea, intending to deal with Huang Xingsheng when he comes to frame her. But just as she's about to act, a figure bursts through the door. It's Zhao Jinyu, here for his wife. The two reincarnators lock eyes, each seeing the other's future potential hidden beneath their current facade. Mu Liuxu is so captivated by the handsome man before her that she completely forgets about the poison. Zhao Jinyu takes the cup and drinks, and she snaps out of her daze, screaming in panic that the tea is poisoned. She lunges to knock the cup from his hand, crashing into his chest. He catches her, smirking that she's quite aggressive for someone who isn't even married yet. In a flurry of motion, she jabs him with a gastric lavage elbow, forcing him to spit out the poison. Utterly mortified, she tries to run. But he grabs her hand, a charming smile on his face, and announces he's taking her home to get married before sweeping her into his arms. Meanwhile, the emperor learns that his chaplain, Tian Yazi, was gravely wounded by a mysterious expert. He suspects the Taiyasect, but before he can act, a guard bursts in with shocking news. Young Master Zhao has kidnapped the third princess. The palace guards were powerless, not because of his strength, but because he threatened to write down the names of anyone who stopped him. Zhao Jinyu arrives home, bride in tow, and cheerfully greets his father, who is waiting with a spear and pure fury in his eyes. He roars about the humiliation of his son kidnapping a princess. Zhao Jinyu calmly greets the stunning third princess, while his father internally mourns that such a beauty was born mentally challenged. Once the princess is led away, the duke demands an explanation for the previous night's mission. Zhao Jinyu admits he failed to kill Tian Yazi. The duke scoffs, revealing he knows his son is no fool. He recounts how Zhao Jinyu single-handedly resolved a crisis at the southern border and returned with the sacred tooth of the witchcraft clan's beast totem. Having dropped the act, Zhao Jinyu tells his father not to worry about the spies the emperor will inevitably send, and reveals his trump card. He has information that Imperial Consort Huang is practicing poison, intending to frame both Mu Liuxu and the Zhao clan. His father is shocked by the consort's viciousness, but Zhao Jinyu assures him he'll handle it. He then summons a blue sparrow with a whistle, which transforms into a young woman named Blue Sparrow who greets him as High Priest. She cheekily asks if he wants her to eliminate the idiot princess. Zhao Jinyu's face darkens, and he warns her with lethal intensity that if she dares to touch Mu Liuxu, he will annihilate her entire clan. The terrified girl remembers the day he subjugated her people and apologizes profusely. Reassured, he asks about Huang Yurong and confirms she is a high-ranking believer of the witchcraft clan, whose registry is now under his control. A sinister smile plays on his lips. The emperor's beloved consort is a pawn he can use later. He then asks for an unmanifested poisonous insect, which the sparrow promptly regurgitates. Elsewhere, Mu Liuxu is relieved that Zhao Jinyu's arrival has altered her fate. She contacts her own clan via a magic mirror, only to receive dire news. The Chalcedony mine crucial to her people has been occupied by the witchcraft clan. She resolves to take it back at all costs, deciding to handle it herself since she's about to be married. Her thoughts are interrupted by Zhao Jinyu's cheerful arrival. He finds her staring into her mirror and teases her about her vanity. She quietly explains it was a keepsake from her mother, and he immediately apologizes. His gentle apology melts her heart. He then notices she hasn't touched her food and asks if it's not to her taste. She blushes and shyly admits she was waiting to eat with him since they are husband and wife. Utterly slain by her cuteness, Zhao Jinyu remembers the Lantern Festival is tonight. He presents her with a single red rose and asks her to go with him, leaving Mu Liuxu completely flustered as she realizes he's asking her on a date. While the city outside buzzes with life, Mu Liuxu remains engrossed in her work, the candlelight flickering on the scrolls before her. The noise finally breaks her concentration, and she asks her attendant what the commotion is about. He informs her it's the Lantern Festival, a grand celebration of reunion and harvest held every 15th of August. Contemplating the vibrant city under the full moon, Mu Liuxu coldly decides to cancel the festivities. She reasons that the chaos would provide the perfect cover for a rebel spy to assassinate her. Her attendant is horrified, pleading with her to reconsider since the civilians have been looking forward to this important day. But her eyes turn to ice as she dismisses their feelings, declaring that her safety is paramount and ordering him to carry out her command. To her, a festival for reunion is a bitter joke. It has nothing to do with her solitary existence. Yet despite her own order, she finds herself wandering the beautiful lantern-lit streets, a stark contrast to the coldness in her heart. Her striking white hair immediately draws unwanted attention from a group of local thugs, who begin to hatch a lecherous plan. But before they can act, a hand clamps down on one of their shoulders, and a masked man, Zhao Jinyu, offers them a full course of punishments for their wicked thoughts. With the ruffians quickly dispatched, Zhao Jinyu playfully scolds Mu Liuxu for wandering off, presenting her with a pinwheel. He winks, promising her a night of fun as he leads her through the market stalls, eagerly picking out various items. He laments that he didn't bring any servants as it restricts his performance, but Mu Liuxu merely tugs on his sleeve, chiding him for wasting money. Zhao Jinyu is momentarily baffled, as she naively asks if money is even needed to buy things, a concept alien to her from her previous life. He chuckles, calling himself the capital's #1 good-for-nothing as he hands her the pile of goods, then gently places a mask on her head, telling her she's no longer a bird trapped in a cage. A strange, warm sensation fills Mu Liuxu's chest, a feeling she's never known before, and she softly admits that she likes it. Their moment is shattered as a carriage plows through the crowd, forcing them to separate. In the chaos, she drops everything she was holding. When Zhao Jinyu finds her, she's in a daze, wondering if he left her for another woman. He reappears moments later, asking why she looks so distraught after he was only gone for a moment. He drapes a warm, fur-lined cloak over her, telling her it looks good on her as he explains it will hide her noticeable white hair. He then adds with a smile that he likes her hair anyway, and she shyly agrees to continue their outing. She realizes he hadn't abandoned her, and when he teasingly asks if she's too touched to speak, she pinches his side, accusing him of getting the cloak from another woman. As they share a tender moment, a sudden crisis forces Zhao Jinyu to make a difficult choice. He begins to confess something important to her, but just as he's about to reveal the truth about himself, he's interrupted by a glowing signal from his blue sparrow. Panicked, he blurts out that he needs to use the toilet and flees, leaving a bemused Mu Liuxu calling him a coward. She decides to confess her own secret, but just as she's about to speak, a light flashes, revealing Yuan Jai has appeared. Flustered, she too makes the excuse of needing the toilet, and they awkwardly part ways. Once alone, Zhao Jinyu meets with his contact, furious at the interruption. He's informed that the Huang clan is making a move. Huang Yurong has been conspiring with her father to frame Mu Liuxu. A cruel smile spreads across Zhao Jinyu's face as he declares his intent to visit the Huang residence after the festival, ordering his subordinate to prepare a poisoned insect. Meanwhile, Mu Liuxu also finds a secluded spot to contact her own subordinate through a mirror. Yuan Jai reports her arrival in the capital and asks for instructions. Mu Liuxu is pleased to hear that the great General Yu Zai is also on her way, a powerful ally in the Dan realm. She orders Yuan Jai to get the Chalcedony mine as fast as possible before things go wrong. As the festival ends, Zhao Jinyu finds Mu Liuxu and promises they'll come again, a vow he intends to keep. He then proceeds to the Huang residence, where he finds Huang Yurong and her father. The father respectfully greets his daughter, a caution that Zhao Jinyu notes from afar. He deduces that the maid is an imperial spy, and that Huang Yu is a talented but dangerous man who must be investigated. Later that night, Huang Yurong walks through a darkened hallway, sensing a presence. A figure emerges from the shadows, whom she mistakes for her father. But the man's sinister grin reveals he's an imposter, Zhao Jinyu in disguise. He reveals his identity as a witch emissary, presenting a token that makes Huang Yurong drop to her knees in terror. She confesses her despair, revealing the witch clan has her natal insect, binding her to their will. Zhao Jinyu scoffs at her plan to frame Mu Liuxu, revealing the princess is vital to their clan's grand ambitions. As she begs for forgiveness, he offers a solution. She must feed a madness-poisonous insect to her brother, the one who spread the rumors. He reminds her that her life is tied to her natal insect, leaving her with no choice but to comply if she wants a cure for her brother's inevitable insanity. The next morning, Zhao Jinyu is rudely awakened by his father, who frantically tells him the protocol officer from the palace is arriving. Zhao Jinyu nonchalantly dismisses them as the emperor's spies, but his father drags him out of bed, reminding him of his duty. His father then reveals there's no land for a princess residence, meaning he might have to wait a lifetime. Suddenly, a servant announces the arrival of Steward Hai. At the entrance, the esteemed eunuch Hai Qingyan arrives, a man known to be the emperor's most trusted confidant. Zhao Jinyu is immediately on edge, sensing a powerful murderous intent directed at him from the old eunuch. Inside, Hai Qingyan meets with Mu Liuxu, who recalls how he failed to appear when her mother was dying. She accuses him of serving her mother's murderer, Jizing. The eunuch sighs, admitting that loyalty and righteousness are a difficult balance, and tells her to hold her grudge if she must. He then introduces Yuan Jai, who has dyed her hair black to avoid attention, and Mu Liuxu officially takes her on as a personal maid. Hai Qingyan then questions Mu Liuxu's willingness to marry a known good-for-nothing, but she coolly tells him not to worry and dismisses him. As he leaves, he wonders if the sheltered princess has been fooled by Zhao Jinyu. Yuan Jai is confused by the eunuch's aged appearance despite his profound cultivation, a detail Mu Liuxu files away. Yuan Jai then reports that the Huang family's second son went mad the previous night, confirming he was poisoned. She then innocently mentions seeing Zhao Jinyu with other women before the marriage. She explains that while she is to be Mu Liuxu's personal maid, 2 other women were sent for a trial marriage, which infuriates Mu Liuxu. Zhao Jinyu, meanwhile, returns to find his path blocked by guards. Remembering he's supposed to be a useless debauchee, he declares he doesn't care for their rules and unleashes his special technique, 1,000 Years of Death, sending the guards flying. His father rushes out, enraged by the commotion. But Zhao Jinyu simply plays the victim, demanding to know why guards are protecting another man's wife. His father pulls him aside to discuss the trial marriage partners, asking if he can complete the trial. Zhao Jinyu grimly asks his father to help him reject them. His father agrees, amused by his son's unexpected devotion. Zhao Jinyu confidently proclaims he has a plan and just needs 10 days to settle everything. That night, Mu Liuxu is surprised to find Zhao Jinyu in her room. He cheekily explains that, long story short, he has nowhere to live and asks the beautiful lady if he can stay for the night. Blood spills as the Empress collapses, her life of wandering finally reaching its bitter end. She wonders where it all went wrong, her mind flashing back to a man, a single choice that might have changed everything. But regret is a luxury she can't afford. She dismisses it as fate, declaring with her final breath that she is and always will be an empress. The memory fades, and in the present, a knock echoes through the room. The spirit lord wonders who could be visiting so late, her brow furrowing in suspicion. The door slides open to reveal Zhao Jinyu, who offers a casual good evening as he leans against the frame. Flustered, she demands to know why he's there, but he just smiles, cheekily quoting his mother's warning that men who visit at night are all big bad wolves. He explains he had no choice, as sleeping in a brothel would be uncomfortable, a comment that earns him a dark smirk from the maid Yuan Jai. The spirit lord's temper flares, and she grabs him by the collar, demanding to know if the girls from the brothels are better than his own bride. Panicked, Zhao Jinyu tries to make an excuse about his spare room being occupied by his maid, but the spirit lord coolly informs him that the maid is conveniently going to visit relatives tonight. Yuan Jai freezes in terror as the spirit lord gives her a predatory grin, telling her to be back early tomorrow before the terrified maid scrambles away. Alone again, she asks Zhao Jinyu for the real reason he came. He confesses that the palace sent 2 trial marriage maids to his room, and while he knows it's the palace's rule, he has no intention of sharing her with anyone. His plan is simple. He'll stay in her residence for a few nights, making the protocol officers believe they've consummated their union, and the trial maids will be sent away. He can't wait to see the looks on their faces. He then casually announces he'll be sleeping in the side room, leaving the spirit lord utterly bewildered. Did he really just come here to sleep? A storm of conflicting emotions rages within her. Is she not attractive enough? No, she must maintain her decency before the wedding. But her life is a fragile thing with no guarantee of a tomorrow. Deciding to seize the moment, she grabs him, her eyes blazing with determination as she tells him they'll sleep together just this once. She pulls him into a fierce embrace, silencing his sputtering protests. While the night passes poetically inside, Yuan Jai shivers miserably outside, her stomach grumbling as she contemplates the virtues of suffering. The next morning, Zhao Jinyu emerges from the room, greeting the world with a triumphant roar, only to find a crowd of officials led by Duke Zhao waiting for him. Their jaws drop in unison as the spirit lord follows him out, looking sleepy and disheveled. The officials erupt in outrage, scandalized by this blatant disregard for propriety. But Zhao Jinyu just winks, questioning how 2 people in love could be committing a scandalous act. He shoos the spirit lord back inside to rest, assuring her he'll handle the self-righteous mob. They threaten him with the emperor's wrath, but he remains perfectly calm, ordering his butler, Uncle Fu, to prepare a carriage and snacks for the fuming officers before waving them off. Uncle Fu is stunned, remarking that Zhao Jinyu managed to drive them away in just 3 days. With a sly grin, Zhao Jinyu promises that the best is yet to come. Meanwhile, Emperor Jai Xinghe receives a report that an immortal from the Taiyi sect wishes to descend the mountain. The emperor scoffs, knowing they only want a piece of the hidden immortal summit, and laments his lack of pawns before deciding to entertain their offer. Just then, an official bursts in, screaming that Zhao Jinyu has caused trouble again. The emperor impatiently dismisses him, but the man is persistent, rattling off a list of Zhao Jinyu's recent misdeeds, each more ridiculous than the last. Finally, the official drops the bombshell. Zhao Jinyu spent the night in the third princess's room. The emperor explodes with rage, berating the man for his incompetence, only for the terrified official to confess that he knew of the plot and took the princess's place himself, in drag. The emperor's very soul seems to exit his body in disbelief. Back at the estate, Uncle Fu asks Zhao Jinyu how he managed to get the protocol officers banned from the palace for 4 months. Zhao Jinyu smugly explains the principle of crying wolf, confident they're gone for good. His mind then turns to his dummy wife, frustrated by her continued naivete, while his father, Zhao Chenggu, decides to get her drunk to uncover her true nature, only to discover his son has already pilfered his prized liquor. Zhao Jinyu finds the spirit lord and invites her to drink, brushing off her protests by calling it an early wedding celebration. The moment the liquor touches her lips, her personality flips, and she downs both jugs in record time. Much to Zhao Jinyu's shock. As he tries to leave, she grabs him, her eyes hazy but insistent, demanding he stay and accompany her. The night blurs and he finds himself in her bed, torn between his principles and his primal urges. A sudden ringing interrupts his turmoil. His messenger bird Blue Sparrow arrives with an emergency. A large group from the northern wilderness is at the Chalcedony mine. Donning a mask, Zhao Jinyu declares that the high priest will handle these northern barbarians personally. In a dark canyon, an army marches, and a young warrior, Muliuxu, questions her master, the great General Yuzai, about following orders from their new, supposedly unworthy spirit lord. Yuzai listens patiently before revealing the truth. Though the spirit lord's bloodline is impure, she possesses a rare atavistic power that puts her on par with Yuzai herself, and she also holds the key to the Dragon Gate. Suddenly, they find their path blocked by a single masked figure, Zhao Jinyu. He warns them to go back, drawing his sword. Mu Liuxu, infuriated by his arrogance, calls him an idiot from the witchcraft clan and unleashes a furious assault. Zhao Jinyu contemptuously parries her daggers with just 2 fingers, utterly dumbfounding her. She lunges again, but he vanishes, reappearing behind her to grab her by the ankle and send her flying into a wagon. Yuzai catches her subordinate, apologizing for her immature. Zhao Jinyu's patience has worn thin. He draws a line in the earth with his blade, a wave of immense power erupting as he declares that all who cross it shall die. The northern army freezes in terror, recognizing the power of a mainland. Yuzai herself is shaken, feeling the chilling sword intent and seeing a vision of a mountain of skulls behind him. Realizing they are hopelessly outmatched, she thanks him for his mercy and orders a full retreat. Zhao Jinyu watches them go, a smirk on his face, musing that the chaos this will cause in the capital is exactly what he wants. The next day, Yuanjai returns to find the Spirit Lord nursing a hangover. The Spirit Lord recounts Yuzai's report of the mysterious mainland immortal, realizing they've lost their chance at the mine. With a cold glint in her eyes, she decides on a new plan. If she can't have the mine, no one can. She sends a secret report to the court, and the Imperial Guards are dispatched to the mine with orders to kill any trespassers. But they find the place deserted. Zhao Jinyu, meanwhile, is lazily refining pills when Blue Sparrow reports that his mine was raided. He realizes the northern barbarians must have tattled, but the bird clarifies that they suffered 0 losses because one of them returned to warn his people. An interesting turn of events. He decides to lie low, his thoughts turning to the impressive leader of the northern wasteland. The Spirit Lord interrupts his thoughts, enchanted by the cute Blue Sparrow. The bird is horrified when she snatches it up, but the Spirit Lord asserts her authority as its mistress, threatening to cook it if it struggles. She asks to care for the bird for a few days, and Zhao Jinyu agrees. Later, Yuanjai presents him with a sachet from her lady, which he accepts with a smirk. But his moment of peace is shattered when his father summons him with dire news. The 5th prince, a man born with divine eyes that can see a person's true nature, is coming to the capital specifically to test him. His father plans to flee to the countryside, but Zhao Jinyu is determined to face the challenge. His father then reveals a plan, a trip to the Xuantian temple to find someone he knows well, a real son of a bitch he's always wanted to cut in half. The image of a mysterious white-haired man with his back turned flashes in their minds. A general recalls a past war against the Millennium Demon Kingdom, where he entrusted a vital but dangerous mission to a young, cocky King Pingzi, transporting military rations. King Pingzi cheekily agreed, but only if the general got on his knees and begged him. The general predictably flew into a comical rage, ready to enforce military law on the insolent brat. Meanwhile, in the present, Zhao Jinyu travels with his father, who muses that some people are simply meant to be cut down. They are in a race against the 5th prince, Jai Ryuan, who also seeks the treasure that can exploit the Divine Eye's weakness. They arrive at the ominous Xuantian Temple, a place of silent power guarded by a stone tortoise and snake. Inside, the fifth prince confronts the temple's old master, demanding to borrow the black tortoise diagram. The master slyly questions the prince's motives, correctly guessing he wants to prevent the Zhao clan from evading an upcoming examination. The prince doesn't bother denying it, his ambition glittering in his eyes. The master flatly refuses, declaring the diagram a sacred treasure of the temple. Unfazed, Jai Ryuan threatens to take it by force, revealing that not only does he have 2,000 troops waiting at the foot of the mountain, but the formidable 5th Zhuguo Bai Chuan is also with him. The old master begins to sweat, the gravity of the situation finally dawning on him. In a quick flash of memory, we see the deal struck between the general and the now gravely ill King Pingzi, who is being rushed away in a carriage. King Pingzi had bargained for his life, demanding that the general's son recognize him as a godfather, a humiliating price the general promised to pay through gritted teeth. Back at the temple, the master finally erupts, screaming that he will never lend the artifact. At that moment, a bird delivers a message to Zhao Jinyu's party. It's from King Pingzi, they're too late. The black tortoise diagram has already fallen into the fifth prince's hands. Just as they realize their failure, the prince's cavalry emerges, blocking their path. Duke Zhao tells his son to hide as Bai Chuan calls out, demanding the young master of the Zhao clan show himself. The prince feigns politeness, suggesting a friendly chat, but Duke Zhao tries to excuse his son by claiming he has a cold. The prince counters by offering Bai Chuan's medical expertise, an offer that can't be refused without raising suspicion. Duke Zhao is forced to block Bai Chuan's advance, desperately trying to protect the secret within the carriage. Inside, he uses a sound transmission to ask his son, Zhao Jinyu, if they should fight their way out. Jinyu smirks, his demeanor completely changing as he confidently states he is invincible in a one-on-one fight and can handle the Zhuguo. His father warns him not to be reckless, but Jinyu is already gripping his sword, ready for a confrontation. He bursts from the carriage, loudly complaining about being disturbed, but the moment he lays eyes on the ethereal Bai Chuan, he switches tactics. He transforms into a lecherous fool, fawning over Bai Chuan's beauty and asking if they are married. The prince watches this display, his own eyes glowing with a sinister light, internally vowing to execute Jinyu at the slightest hint of deception. But Jinyu's act is flawless. As he tells the prince to back off, a flicker of killing intent emanates from him, so subtle only Bai Chuan seems to notice, instantly moving to protect the prince. The prince waves Bai Chuan off, declares the young master is harmless, and departs after making a veiled threat about taking Jinyu's sword. As they leave, Jinyu wonders if his act was convincing, while his father grows suspicious that the prince saw through the charade. Jinyu is then distracted by a sudden heat from a sachet he carries. Elsewhere, the spirit lord Linger is questioned by her attendant, Yuan Jai, for using priceless treasures to craft a talisman for Jinyu. Linger simply smiles, saying Yuan Jai will understand one day when she loves someone. A flashback reveals the fifth prince's own devotion, kneeling for days in the snow outside Bai Chuan's home, seeking the power to observe fate not for selfish reasons, but for the good of the people under heaven. In the present, aboard their carriage, the prince confirms to a sleeping Bai Chuan that Zhao Jinyu's aura was mediocre, dismissing him as a threat. Bai Chuan, however, remains unconvinced, haunted by the flicker of killing intent. The prince reveals his true purpose for going to the capital. A prophesied calamity threatens the empire, a danger he must face even though his own master predicted his death on this very trip. In the other carriage, Duke Zhao scolds his son for his dangerous charade, but Jinyu merely explains the legends surrounding Bai Chuan, a genderless mountain god. He dismisses his father's concerns, declaring that in this chaotic world, everyone is just trying to protect what is precious to them, and he is determined to live this life without regrets, no matter the cost. Meanwhile, a new plot unfolds as Minister Huang watches his son descend into madness. He is approached by an agent of the third princess who offers him a trade. He awakens before the princess herself and kneels. She reveals her plan. She wants his help to infiltrate the army and reach the hidden immortal summit, and in return, she will cure his son and grant him renewed youth. Minister Huang, seeing no other choice, pledges his undying loyalty. The princess thinks to herself that if she could exploit him in her past life, she can certainly do so again. At the same time, the emperor, Jizing, is meeting with the legendary Taoist Chun Yangzi. He agrees to the Taoist's terms of developing the hidden immortal summit in exchange for 20 years of service. But the emperor has a condition of his own. He wants every single person sent to the summit by the princes and vassal states to be slaughtered. The Taoist is appalled, but his disciple, Mu Jin, explains the precarious state of the dynasty and the immense power of the Zhao clan. This expedition is the Emperor's gambit to eliminate all internal threats. Mu Jin then thinks of her true objective, waiting for her Master Sword King, vowing to find him herself. Disaster strikes at Linger's residence when Yuan Jai discovers the precious blue sparrow has escaped its cage. Linger descends into a rare panic, screaming for an immediate search. The bird, however, finds its way to Zhao Jinyu, landing on his shoulder as he returns home. The sparrow speaks, revealing it's a human, and warns Jinyu that the girl he's with is deceiving him. Jinyu is unfazed, finding the entire situation amusing. The next day, he presents his wife with a replacement bird, a crow he has dyed blue. As she plays dumb, he seethes internally, wondering just how long she plans to keep up her act. Within a prosperous capital, Chun Yangzi sighs, finding the local liquor far inferior to that of his Teiyi sect. He complains to his silent companion that he's been with her for half a day talking to himself, but she cuts him off, coldly stating she never requested his company and he's free to leave. Just then, her entire demeanor changes as she spots Zhao Jinyu walking into the courtyard. Her heart flutters as she whispers his title, Master Sword King, her mind filled with a romantic vision of him. Her fantasy shatters, however, when she sees who he's with. The beautiful, white-haired Mu Liuxu. A dark, murderous aura instantly envelops her as pure rage consumes her thoughts, vowing to kill the woman who dared approach her Sword King. She slams her hands on the table in a furious outburst, shocking Chun Yangzi, who had just been trying to have a drink. Taking a deep breath, she tries to calm her boiling anger. Outside, Zhao Jinyu senses a familiar, unsettling aura for a fleeting moment. His sister, Rushwang, teases him about getting married so soon, wondering if he's jealous. He just brushes her off while she muses about the rumors surrounding the third princess, Mu Liuxu, and their arranged marriage, calling them a perfect match of a debauchee and an idiot. She then abruptly changes the subject, remembering something important. She grabs him, asking to borrow him for a minute before dragging him into an alleyway and demanding he return her money. She accuses him of secretly making countless cultivation pills and burning treasures to deceive others, all while she was at the border selling them for him. He calmly asks how much she wants, and she holds up her hand, demanding enough to feed 50,000 people. He's stunned, questioning if she's serious and asking if she plans to rebel by raising a personal army. She coolly replies that he needn't worry, she's merely providing an escape route for the Zhao clan. He smirks, grabbing her head and retorting that she's hiding which clan members, just as he's hiding his own secrets. He mocks her, asking if she's ever beaten him in a fight or a game of chess, so how could she possibly accomplish what he has planned? Rushwang can only grit her teeth in frustration. A few nights later, Chun Yangzi, now dressed as an assassin, laments his fate as an honorable master of the Nine Peaks reduced to being a hitman, his target, Mu Liuxu. He decides against using his sex techniques for such a shady job, instead pulling out paper dolls for a Taoist curse. He unleashes a ghost-controlling art, declaring that today will be the day the mindless princess dies, sending demonic spirits swarming toward her room. Inside, Mu Liuxu is working when her maid, Yuzai, suddenly screams a warning. A demonic spirit appears behind her, dagger raised. But before it can strike, a brilliant blade of light slices through it effortlessly. The spirits are suddenly torn apart by a barrage of sword kai, protecting Mu Liuxu from the onslaught. She stares in shock at the small hole in the wall, wondering who could have saved her with such powerful sword control. Outside, the assassin is baffled as his connection to his spirits is severed. Suddenly, a blinding light erupts behind him, and he barely dodges a devastating slash. He's terrified, wondering what kind of expert is hidden in the Zhao residence. A figure in a mask, Zhao Jinyu, appears from the shadows, his presence overwhelming. The assassin is paralyzed with fear, realizing he can't escape. He tries to strike, but his attack is blocked by a protective treasure, a glowing blue bracelet. He begs for his life, suggesting they can talk things out. But Zhao Jinyu is not interested in talking. He offers to leave the hitman's corpse intact if he reveals who sent him, unleashing his sword-controlling art. The assassin desperately tries to buy time, warning that the Zhuguo will arrive if they continue fighting. Zhao Jinyu scoffs, asking if the assassin truly believes his bracelet can protect him until then. Before unleashing a devastating technique called slashing epoch, the attack cuts through not the body but the assassin's very life force. In a final, desperate move, the assassin summons a massive thunder art, vowing to fight to the death. The sheer power of the great thunder dharma stuns Zhao Jinyu, who instantly recognizes the technique. He realizes the assassin is his senior brother Chun Yangzi from his past life. Confused, he wonders why his simple-minded senior would be here, concluding he must have been exploited. He decides he can't kill him, but he can't let him go either, resolving to incapacitate him for a few months. Just as he prepares to end it in 15 rounds, a new voice cuts through the night, asking to join their fun. An old eunuch appears with the fifth prince and a woman named Bai Chuan, chastising them for their audacity. Zhao Jinyu is shocked by their sudden arrival, realizing the divine eye must be nearby. He fires a volley of sword kai at the prince, forcing Bai Chuan and the eunuch to intercept the attack, giving Chen Yangzi the opening he needs to escape. Seeing his chance, Chen Yangzi flees, but not before Bai Chuan fires a golden arrow from her sun bow, striking him in the chest. She coolly states that the enemy shall be eradicated completely. Back in her room, Mu Liuxu feels the strain of using the sun bow, wondering if it was someone from the Zhao clan who helped her and who would want her dead. She reassures her worried maid, but internally vows that if the attacker returns, she will kill him. In another location, a shocked purple-haired woman finds the heavily injured Chen Yangzi, an arrow still lodged in his chest. He admits he was careless, stunned that such an expert existed in the world. He rejects her offer to get a healer, instead pulling out a scroll to heal himself, asking her to guard him for 3 days. She impatiently asks if Mu Liuxu is dead, and when he stammers that she might still be alive, she explodes in fury, calling him useless for failing to kill an ordinary human. He nervously explains he was forced to use his thunder art, hoping his identity wasn't exposed. Meanwhile, the old eunuch reports to the prince and Bai Chuan, his hand still numb from the attacker's power. Bai Chuan has a flash of realization, remembering a similar sword hanging on the underclothes of the sword Duke Zhao's son. The prince is skeptical, but the eunuch confirms the attack came from the Zhao residence and that he must report it to the emperor. The prince agrees but warns against making a fuss without evidence. Back at the mansion, Zhao Jinyu stands silently, furious that he couldn't kill them all. He's checking on his wife, wondering how the former empress would react to an assassin. Mu Liuxu peeks out and he asks if she's okay. To his surprise, she bursts into tears, feigning terror and wailing that a weird person broke in and she was so scared. He comforts her, relieved she's unharmed, but resolves to start moving his own plans forward so she doesn't have to act behind his back. A little later, his father rushes in, asking if he fought the thief. Zhao Jinyu explains someone released ghosts, so he had to intervene. He then asks where his sister Rushwang is, and his father explains she's visiting subordinates. Zhao Jinyu tells him not to mention the incident to her, not wanting to cause needless worry. His father agrees but asks if he exposed his real strength. Zhao Jinyu admits that while he wore a mask, someone noticed his sword was from their residence, and that person was Bai Chuan. His father panics, realizing the emperor could easily condemn them without proof. Just as a servant announces the arrival of eunuch Lai from the palace, the eunuch delivers a decree: the hidden summit peak will open soon, and His Majesty invites Duke Zhao and his son, Zhao Jinyu, to a banquet the next day. In the palace, the emperor discusses the matter with eunuch Hai, questioning if his beloved daughter, the noble consort Huang, is truly willing to be part of his plan. Eunuch Hai assures him it is a blessing for her to be useful. The emperor smiles, anticipating the entertainment at the banquet, wondering if Duke Zhao will try to save his son or the mysterious expert who defeated an earth immortal. Back at the residence, Zhao Jinyu and his father realize the banquet is a trap. Zhao Jinyu decides they must attend to avoid suspicion, confident they can escape if things go wrong. He then asks if their clan has any other hidden experts. His father cheekily points to him, but Zhao Jinyu's question makes him wonder if his son somehow detected their hidden protector. Zhao Jinyu muses that his father is unwilling to tell him, just as he was in his previous life, and that such experts often look ordinary. His eyes suddenly landing on the old servant Fu, before dismissing the thought as overthinking. A lesson from long ago haunts the imperial palace, a memory of a blindfolded imperial uncle teaching his nephew, Jai Chang, the art of medicine. Jai Chang, driven by the loss of a beloved maid who died without care, was determined to learn. His uncle saw in him a benevolent future king, a naive hope that shattered when he truly understood the nature of the palace. The lesson began when the fifth prince and the powerful Bai Chuan were summoned before the emperor. Bai Chuan, a Lord Zhuguo, bristled at being ordered to wait outside, questioning the authority of the emperor, Jai Xing. The prince, however, knew what was coming, his heart cold with the understanding of what this place truly was. Inside, the emperor greeted his own son, Jai Chang, with a chilling smile, declaring it was time for the uncle to use his newly healed eyes to glimpse the boy's future. The uncle saw a magnificent golden dragon, the undeniable aura of a king. The emperor laughed, pleased with Jai Chang's bold claim that destiny could be forged even without such an aura. He presented his son with a treasure sword, whispering a final, venomous lesson that a person must bide their time before plunging the blade into his own child. Blood sprayed across the room, and the emperor, with a sickening calm, asked his horrified brother for a cloth to wipe his hands clean. That was the day the uncle left the palace, the day he learned Jai Xinghe was unworthy to be a king. Back in the present, the emperor uses that same uncle to judge his remaining children, but the verdict is grim. None of them are special. He delivers the news diplomatically, claiming they all have potential but require cultivation. The emperor seems to accept it but pauses, asking about his absent second son, Hengyi. Just as a eunuch explains he has diarrhea, Hengyi himself bursts in, stumbling over the fifth prince's foot and crashing to the floor, much to the amusement of his siblings. The fifth prince helps the terrified boy up, whispering a grim warning to flee the capital if he wants to live. The emperor dismisses the boy as harmless garbage and turns his attention to two new arrivals from the Tei sect. Suddenly, the Tei expert points a trembling finger at his own companion, a purple-haired woman, begging the emperor to execute her immediately. He declares she possesses the aura of the Mars calamity and will bring chaos to the world. The fifth prince, playing the part of a loyal subject, grabs a sword and lunges at the woman, roaring that he will slay this evil. But the Tei expert merely waves his hand, paralyzing the prince mid-strike. Unable to move, the prince roars for Bai Chuan, who unleashes a wave of power that shatters the binding spell. With cold fury, the emperor commands Bai Chuan to kill the woman. Bai Chuan doesn't hesitate, launching a volley of energy blasts. The Tei expert erects a barrier, but Bai Chuan spots a blind spot and strikes him down with contemptuous ease, mocking his rumored skill. As the two light immortals clash, the entire palace trembles, forcing the emperor to order them to stop. Meanwhile, far from the throne room, Zhao Jinyu and his father are putting on a show of their own, pretending to be drunk and belligerently demanding more food and wine. Their chaotic act is interrupted when a eunuch arrives with a summons. Zhao Jinyu is to meet the imperial consort Huang Yurong. Zhao Jinyu's mind races. It's a trap, the emperor using a pawn to deal with him. On the way, he spots a timid boy lurking in the shadows, recognizing him as Hengyi, the future emperor. An idea sparks in his mind. He intercepts the terrified Hengyi, who tries to flee from the evil demon king. Zhao Jinyu chases him down, cornering him with the help of his familiar Blue Sparrow. Before putting his plan into motion, he has Blue Sparrow use a poisonous insect to create a perfect duplicate of himself, ordering the clone to stay with Hengyi and establish an alibi. With his alibi in place, Zhao Jinyu proceeds to the consort's chambers. He enters and finds Huang Yurong waiting for him. She invites him to rest, but the air is thick with the scent of a powerful drug. Realizing the depths of the emperor's scheme, Zhao Jinyu recoils, harshly reminding her that he's a married man. As she falls to the floor in shock, he immediately orders his men to surround the scene. The trap is sprung, but not on him. Unbeknownst to them, the third princess had already uncovered the conspiracy, discovering that Huang Yurong was a willing sacrifice in a plot to frame Zhao Jinyu for adultery. Horrified, she had raced through the palace, praying she wasn't too late. With the situation now under control thanks to his quick thinking, Zhao Jinyu returns to his double and Hengyi, seamlessly swapping places. To solidify his alibi, he begins playfully tormenting the boy, chasing him through the palace gardens for all to see, ensuring everyone knows he was with the second prince the entire time. Their chaotic chase is finally interrupted by the arrival of the palace guards, falling perfectly into Zhao Jinyu's meticulously crafted plan. For Zhai Xing, the night is a battlefield of calculations, information being the key to victory in this deadly game of politics. He maps out the delicate balance between the Zhao and Tian clans, knowing that the moment he reveals his clan's hidden expert, his enemies will sense the impending danger. Recalculating every card each side holds, he weighs his options and possible backups, strategizing until dawn breaks. Realizing morning has come, he muses on the banquet he must attend at the palace, wondering what scheme the emperor is hatching this time, before deciding to wash up. But as he steps out, he's surprised to find his wife waiting for him. He asks why she's there, and she shyly explains she wanted to have breakfast with him but couldn't find him, noticing he's about to go out. He confirms he's attending a banquet at the palace and plans to feast there instead. A flicker of realization crosses her face. He smiles reassuringly, telling her to wait for him to come back. But she calls out to him, flustering him for a moment. Gently touching his face, she tells him not to force himself, reminding him that no matter what, she is there for him. She implores him to believe in her, a statement that makes him smile warmly as he agrees to depend on his wife. But as he leaves, she realizes with dawning horror that she has miscalculated. She had thought Zhai Xing was only just now learning about the hidden expert, but he was already conspiring with others, moving his pieces into place. With no time to waste, she dashes towards the palace, shoving guards aside who demand she stop. One guard recognizes the token she flashes. It belongs to the Tian clan. Inside, Zhai Xing is stunned to see her, demanding to know why she is in the palace. As she rushes towards him, they are suddenly confronted by another figure, Zhai Hengyi, the prince. Imperial guards swarm in, ordering them to halt, accusing them of brazenly causing trouble. His wife realizes Zhai Xing's scheme is well prepared, and seeing no other choice, she steps forward, announcing her true identity as the third imperial princess of the Zhou dynasty, ordering everyone to stop. Both Jai Xinghe and his sister are stunned by the revelation, but he wastes no time grabbing both of them and declaring he will get them out. As he leads them through the chaos, the scene shifts to the emperor, who orders Eunuch Hai to stop two powerful Taoists from fighting. A wave of energy erupts, and the eunuch barely manages to block the attack, coughing up blood. The imperial uncle demands to know what the emperor is doing, but the emperor calmly tells him to calm down. Before dismissing the two Taoists wanting a private conversation, the uncle insists that the witch must be killed to prevent disaster, and the emperor assures him that he believes him, but then slyly asks what if he wanted to spare her. He reveals that the witch told him the heavenly martial relic is hidden in the immortal summit. A piece of information that makes the uncle's eyes widen. The emperor then spins a tale of the legendary heavenly martial dynasty that once unified the mainland. A powerful empire that was mysteriously annihilated without a trace. The uncle dismisses it as a mere legend, but the emperor reveals that his own concubine Mu is a survivor of that dynasty's ancestral Spring clan, and has provided proof leading him to believe the relic is indeed at the summit. The uncle, alarmed, asks if he's believing a calamity like her, but the emperor simply asks if he has to follow everything his uncle says. He then tasks his uncle with leading the troops on the trip to the summit. Once the uncle is gone, the two Taoists wonder if they should flee, but the woman, Huang Yu, is confident Jai Xinghe won't move against them yet. She reveals she dangled the bait of the heavenly martial relic, knowing he couldn't resist the legend of a book detailing how to unite the mainland. However, she admits his casual acceptance was strange. Elsewhere, the emperor explains his true plan to his uncle. He trusts him, which is why he's leading the troops. He knows the Taoists have their own intentions, but once he gets what he wants from them, his uncle can help him get rid of them. He has also made another deal with them to remove the vassal state, and once they are exhausted from killing millions, his uncle's troops can easily eliminate them. The emperor coldly reminds his greedy uncle that he has already permitted his request to kill the calamity. Meanwhile, Jai Xinghe is being dragged away by guards with his wife and sister protesting. She tells him to shut up and just run, but they find their path blocked by what they think are watchmen. Only for Jai Xinghe to grimly correct them, it's the Imperial Guard. The emperor himself appears, ordering his men to take down Zhao Jinyu. Jai Xinghe is shocked to see his imperial father, while his wife can only stare in disbelief. As he's being apprehended, Jai Xinghe tries to joke that all he did was fry some fish. But the emperor orders him imprisoned in the imperial clan court. Just as he's being dragged away, his father, Duke Zhao, arrives, pleading for them to stop. Certain it's all a misunderstanding, the emperor coldly states that if it is, he'll free him, but if not, the Zhao clan might face a grim fate. A furious Duke Zhao storms back to his residence, where his steward asks what happened. Without a word, he enters a hidden chamber to confront a shadowy figure, demanding to know if the old ghost is dead. A voice from the darkness asks if Zhao Wuji has finally made a decision. The steward then reports to the emperor that he didn't see Duke Zhao's son, but the emperor questions Jai Hengyi, who confirms he was with Zhao Jinyu for 2 hours. The emperor finds this strange, questioning why consort Huang would use the drug if she didn't see him. Before turning to the consort herself, who apologizes, stating the drug was too strong and knocked her out. The emperor dismisses her and consults Eunuch Hai, who deduces that the plan might have been orchestrated by the expert behind the Zhao clan. The eunuch suggests they can imprison Zhao Jinyu and set another trap since they lack evidence. Outside the court, his wife peers in, only to be caught by Eunuch Hai. He questions if she's trying to help him break out, warning her that the palace is heavily guarded. But she coolly replies that she has already made arrangements. The eunuch realizes she's fallen in love and advises her against it, explaining that the emperor only captured Zhao Jinyu to lure out the Zhao clan's expert, not to kill him. He swears on his life that he speaks the truth. She agrees not to interfere, but only if she can meet Zhao Jinyu once. The eunuch cleverly arranges it by pretending to summon the guards for instructions, allowing her a window to sneak in. She finds him inside, resting against the bars, and he's shocked to see her back so soon. He asks why she's there, worried they forced her to do something. But she calmly explains that their wedding is postponed, so they let her in for a meeting. He apologizes for the delay, but she asks why he's apologizing, reminding him that if she were the one imprisoned, he wouldn't mind either. A memory of a past life flashing before her eyes. Back at the Zhao residence, Duke Zhao faces the hidden expert who reveals himself. The Duke gravely informs him that his other son, Wu Ji, is dead. He recounts the painful memory of being on the verge of victory against the Millennium Demon Kingdom when the Emperor suddenly ordered a retreat with 12 golden plates. Wu Ji refused to fall short and defied the order, so the Emperor convinced the third Zhuguo to assassinate him. He only learned of the plot when a scout named King Pingzi rushed to warn him. But by the time he arrived, Wuji was already dead, riddled with arrows. All he could do was carry the heavily injured King Pingzi back to camp, only to find his wife had passed away from grief after hearing the news. The expert looks on grimly, telling the Duke he's here to receive his death for failing to protect them. The Duke begs him to wait, screaming that he can't die yet because Zhao Jinyu is now going to kill his youngest son, Zhao Jinyu. The expert releases him, asking how Jinyu's strength compares to Wuji's. The Duke believes he's even stronger, so the expert agrees to go with him, ready to turn the world upside down. He stops the Duke, realizing it was Jinyu disguised as Wuji's man earlier. He tells the shocked Duke that since his youngest is so strong, they should bring him along to kill the Emperor. But the Duke asks him not to tell Jinyu about Wuji's fate, not wanting to burden him. At the palace, Zhao Jinyu has somehow escaped and finds his father, who demands to know how he got out. Jinyu cheekily explains he found a master of disguise to take his place. Knowing the court lacked evidence, his father asks why he rushed out, and he explains that the Hidden Immortal Summit opens the next day and someone needs to lead the Zhao army. He then asks his father with a wicked grin if he wants to discuss Zhao Jinyu. With a resounding beat of a drum, Duke Zhao appears before the court, declaring he's hitting the drum of complaints. He's not complaining for his son, but for the emperor, roaring that the emperor has been wronged by his ungrateful son's actions. He declares he will punish his own family to uphold justice, demanding the emperor show him the evidence so he can personally execute his son. His theatrical loyalty leaves the officials speechless. As his daughter cringes in the crowd, she decides she has to sneak in to see her brother. Desperate, she runs into the prince Zhai Hengyi and is immediately accosted by his forward sister Shuang. Flustered, Shuang blurts out that they should go on a date to the border, leaving the prince stunned as his sister flees in embarrassment. As she laments her foolishness, she forgets all about meeting her brother. The day finally arrives, and a massive army gathers for the opening of the Hidden Immortal Summit. As the commander-in-chief of the Zhao clan's army makes his grand entrance, a masked figure stands before a restless army, his voice calm as he announces himself as their new temporary commander-in-chief. The soldiers erupt in disbelief, their trust shattered by the sight of his concealed face. A fiery female officer steps forward, her voice dripping with contempt as she demands to know who he is. She grabs his robes, spitting that no one would follow a leader who won't even show his face. And worse, she sneers, his followers are nothing but barbarians. Before she can finish, one of Yuan Jai's companions, a powerful man named Chuo Baoing, seizes her by the scarf, his voice a low growl telling her she's speaking too loudly to a great person. Yuan Jai simply watches, everything unfolding just as he expected. Asserting dominance is always the tedious first step. Another soldier draws his sword, calling them presumptuous barbarians. But Yuan Jai softly tells his other subordinate, Lan Zi, not to kill anyone. In a flash, Lan Zi has a blade to the first soldier's throat, casually remarking that she's just playing around. Her power level far beyond the officer's comprehension. Yuan Jai explains that Chuo Baoing and Lan Zi impressed him during an attack on the Witch clan, so he cultivated them himself. The soldier freezes in terror, realizing she never even sensed Lan Zi's presence before the blade was at her neck. Her comrade lunges, but Lan Zi, with a condescending smile, calls him too slow and disarms him in an instant, her hand a blur. Chuo Baoing is ordered to keep an eye on his captive, while the man tries another attack only to be stopped by Yuan Jai's hand. With a simple command, Yuan Jai calls them back, and they obey without question. He then turns to the now silent army, his voice cold, asking if anyone else is dissatisfied. Seeing none, he declares that from this moment on, disobedience means death. Elsewhere in a dark carriage, the future empress is instructed to remain hidden. She agrees, but her mind is consumed with worry for her husband, Yuan Jai, having left a substitute to feign illness in her stead. She knows there will be trouble on her husband's side, and she is determined to obtain the Dragon Gate's ingredients and a legendary treasure, so that if the worst happens, she will have the power to save him. As various factions gather, a man named Ryuan is told to ignore the commotion from the Zhao clan's army, who just had a last-minute change in command. He resolves to focus on the calamity, noting His Majesty's growing paranoia. At the Hidden Immortal Summit, a white-haired elder announces its opening, handing out emergency tokens. Ryuan internally scoffs, knowing they are all fake except for the two in his own hand. No one else is meant to return alive. The groups are teleported into a misty, otherworldly realm. Yuan Jai finds the mist blocking his view annoying, noting he never came here in his past life and must be cautious. He briefs his subordinates, promising the Witch clan a larger share of the spoils for taking the lead. They soon arrive at an eerie village where treasure chests lie open, and the warriors rush forward in a frenzy. But Yuan Jai sees the truth, noting that all the carriages are facing outwards, as if fleeing from something inside. He warns his people to be careful. He feels uneasy, even with more experts this time something feels wrong. A warrior excitedly grabs his second treasure, only for a silent mechanical soldier to spring to life and strike him down. Suddenly, the entire area is swarming with these puppets, cutting down the greedy soldiers with emotionless precision. Yuan-Jai warns his followers that these mechanical soldiers have no killing intent, making them perfect ambushers. An arrow flies silently through the mist, nearly striking Lanzi, who catches it just before it hits her face. Yuan-Jai orders Chuo Baoing and Lanzi to engage. Chuo Baoing leaps forward, smashing a puppet with a single devastating punch, while Lanzi pins another to the ground, scolding it for making her look bad in front of the high priest. Meanwhile, cries for help echo as Ryuan's group is also ambushed by stone soldiers hidden in the mist. Ryuan activates his divine eyes, his vision piercing the veil, to locate a path forward, but a terrifying presence crushes his mind, warning the mortal not to pry. The force strikes him from afar and he collapses, spitting blood. Baichuan is horrified, unable to sense the attacker at all. Ryuan, however, remains composed, realizing they are trapped in a Kaimen Dungia formation and that the life door is in a specific direction. As chaos erupts, the future Empress watches from her carriage, sensing the disturbance. She sees the Zhao clan's army at the front line taking heavy losses and laments that the most useless armies are safe at the rear. She considers helping but knows she's alone, wishing she had an expert in poisonous insects. Her wish is granted as Yuan-Jai unleashes his own chaos, activating pills he sold earlier. The vassal soldiers are consumed by a frenzy, their eyes turning red as they become mindless berserkers. They are now filled with a crazy-inducing poison that boosts their power and removes all sense of pain and fear. Turning them into the perfect cannon fodder, they tear through their own comrades and charge mindlessly at the mechanical soldiers. Yuan-Jai orders his real troops to push through the chaos he created, and they advance through the now cleared battlefield, reaching a long bridge suspended in the clouds. As they cautiously cross, a soldier's persistent bleeding suddenly forms a pool on the ground, from which a monstrous serpent with glowing eyes emerges. Lanzi shoves a comrade to safety as the beast attacks, but her sword glances off its tough hide. She admits she's not good with large enemies and tells Chuo Baoing she's leaving it to him. As Chuo Baoing prepares to fight, a winged beast swoops down from above. Yuan-Jai calmly notes the various tricks hidden in this place. Lanzi engages the winged creature, but it's too strong, and she's impaled by its attack. At the same time, the vassal soldiers, still in a frenzy, charge the giant snake, only to be swatted away like flies. Chuo Baoing intercepts the serpent's tail, but is sent flying by its immense power, crashing to the ground defeated. Yuan-Jai notices a sinister aura emanating from the beasts, and calmly steps forward, telling his injured followers to watch from the side. He declares that he will accompany the beasts. Just as he moves to attack, a brilliant flash of lightning erupts from another group, striking down the monsters. The mustached Taoist Mu Jin steps forward, chiding Yuan-Jai's clan for being so-so and declaring he'll handle the rest. With the path cleared, Yuan-Jai and his remaining forces finally reach their destination, only to find a new, even more terrifying monster waiting in the darkness. As the multi-eyed, horned beast looms over them, its presence suffocating. Yuan-Jai stands his ground, his voice echoing with absolute authority as he utters a single command: kneel. Zhao Jinyu stands face to face with a terrifying six-eyed beast, but the onlookers are mistaken about the danger. The prince about to attack is stopped by his subordinate, who explains this isn't an evil beast but the legendary spiritual creature, Fei Fei. The prince is stunned that Zhao Jinyu can get so close, deducing his aura must be extraordinary, though a strange restriction in the area prevents him from seeing it clearly. Suddenly, Fei Fei's eyes glow a menacing red as it projects a terrifying illusion of an advancing army, stopping the prince's own soldiers dead in their tracks. The prince realizes the beast has created a temporary safe zone for them. Moving inside, the group discovers a massive pill furnace radiating an ominous red energy that crackles and burns with dark power. The prince reaches out, only for his hand to be singed by its potent force. He recognizes it from ancient texts but needs time to understand it, ordering everyone to stay back. But a mysterious veiled woman named Mu Luoxu steps forward, calmly stating she knows what must be done. While Zhao Jinyu feels a fierce energy pulsing from the furnace, Mu Luoxu ignores the prince's command and presses her hand against a glowing yin-yang symbol on its surface. The furnace erupts in a blinding light, and with a smirk, she tells the others they're too late as a powerful force knocks them all back. The furnace shatters, and in a flash of green light, the hindrances she mentioned disappear. Suddenly, Zhao Jinyu and his two companions are violently teleported into a dark void. They realize they are inside the pill furnace, and before them looms a colossal sword emanating the same tyrannical energy. Desperate to get back to someone named Ryuan, the white-haired woman attempts to conjure a spell. But the man from the Tei sect is completely captivated by the sword, recognizing its soul-crushing power and deciding he must claim it for himself. He reaches for the hilt, but the sword's energy violently repels him. Undeterred, he grabs it with both hands, attempting to pull the treasure from its resting place. As he struggles, the guardian of the sword is finally revealed. The beast Fei impaled by the very blade it protects. Zhao Jinyu stares in shock, realizing the grave mistake they've made. Elsewhere, Mu Liuxu arrives at the ancestral Spring Clan's grounds, finding the area eerily altered and missing its most important structures. She deduces that someone anticipated her arrival and set a trap. Her goal is clear: to find the materials for the Dragon Gate and, most importantly, the remains of her clan's ancestor. She finds the ancestor encased in a massive crystal and bound by chains, declaring that she must borrow these remains to revive her clan. Back in the furnace, the Tei sect member's greedy attempt to seize the sword is cut short when Fei's tail smacks him into the ground. The white-haired woman scoffs that her companions are useless. The humiliated Earth Immortal rises, crackling with lightning and roaring that he will kill the monster. He then yells at a daydreaming Zhao Jinyu to help, but Zhao Jinyu simply calls himself useless trash who can't fight. Since his previous sword can no longer be used, Zhao Jinyu decides to try the unclaimed one, reaching out his hand. Instantly, the sword accepts him, its dark red aura transforming into a calm, powerful. Believing this new weapon can cut through space itself, he prepares to make their escape. The Tei sect member screams in fury that he was tricked and that the sword is his. But Zhao Jinyu simply slashes open a portal, coldly telling his companions to find their own way out. Enraged, the sect member gathers his energy, preparing to unleash the Great Thunder Dharma, shocked that an outsider knows his sect's forbidden arts. Zhao Jinyu simply challenges him to try and find out, blasting him away with an identical, more powerful lightning attack. Waving a casual goodbye, Zhao Jinyu vanishes into the portal, leaving his former allies to the mercy of the furious guardian beast. He emerges onto a foggy summit, only to find himself face-to-face with Mu Liuxu. Cursing his luck for running into another monster, he stands ready for a fight. Mu Liuxu, outraged at a monster defiling her sacred ground, launches a beam of light at him. He dodges effortlessly, and she decides to test her new toy, an immortal puppet made from her ancestors' remains. A ghostly warrior materializes beside her. But Zhao Jinyu is unfazed, deciding it makes no difference if he has to kill one or two. He unleashes his extinguishing thunder on a goblin-like creature that lunges at him, only to be shocked when the beast stands back up, realizing it has the power of an earth immortal. Mu Liuxu is stunned by the dark aura radiating from Zhao Jinyu. As a monstrous creature corners her, she draws a golden bow, fearing this is the end. Her life flashes before her eyes as she remembers the hardship of being with her husband. But just as the creature strikes, Zhao Jinyu appears before her and a jolt of familiarity hits him. He sees a vision of the Empress, who looks identical to Mu Liuxu, gently chiding him for wanting to leave and reminding him of the snacks she bought for him. Shaken from the memory, he watches as Mu Liuxu fires a desperate arrow of light. The creature identifies her as an immortal puppet and spews a cloud of poison. But Zhao Jinyu cuts through the toxic gas, allowing them to escape. He can't shake the feeling, wondering if his wife from his past life could understand the monster's words. Meanwhile, the fifth prince's group is trapped in the shaking tower, their earth immortals gone and puppet soldiers closing in. He forces himself to use his divine eyes, his vision turning red as he searches for an escape route. He finds it and orders his men forward, but a massive hand strikes him from behind, sending him to his knees with blood pouring from his head. In the furnace, the white-haired woman watches in horror as Ryuan is injured. The beast tail strikes her next, and she's skewered by dozens of shadowy tendrils, her regret being that she wasn't by his side. The Tei sect member tells her not to hold back, but she snaps at him not to tell her what to do, gathering a massive bowl of blue energy as antlers sprout from her head. The sect member smirks, unleashing a storm of purple lightning to finish them off. The prince's forces are in chaos, and the purple-haired woman decides to abandon them and escape alone. The wounded prince tries to stop her, but his soldiers are slaughtered around him. Back with Zhao Jinyu, his bad luck continues as a trapdoor sends him plunging into another chamber. He lands before a throne, where the corpse of a man suddenly stirs and opens its eyes. Zhao Jinyu prepares to strike, but the man effortlessly blocks his lightning serpent with one hand. Confused, Zhao Jinyu sheathes his sword when the man begs him not to fight. The ancient being then smiles, calling Zhao Jinyu his brother and offering him berries. Zhao Jinyu is baffled, wondering if he somehow picked up a legendary immortal as a brother. Deciding he must escape, he finds the room sealed and asks his new brother for a way out. The man simply punches a hole through the solid rock wall. Zhao Jinyu leads the way, but the man stumbles, held back by a restraint. Zhao Jinyu offers a deal. He will leave an insignia on him to find him later and break the seal. He places the mark on the man's forehead, secretly making it a remote bomb as a precaution, before promising to return. As he leaves, the prince and his men face their doom, cornered by a skeletal dragon corpse guarding the final gate. The prince screams for them to dodge as the dragon unleashes a blast of energy, wiping out his soldiers. At that moment, the two from the furnace finally escape, only to see the aftermath of the battle. The woman, worried for Ryuan, vows to return to his side. But as she collapses from exhaustion, the Tei sect member prepares to kill her. Just as the dragon's claws descend upon the last of the prince's forces, Zhao Jinyu arrives in a flash, his sword blocking the fatal blow. He calmly tells his relieved men to give him a minute, ready to handle the beast himself. With a final surge of energy, the masked man shatters the bone dragon, his power leaving his followers in awe of their high priest's strength. As they marvel, he instructs them to gather the dragon's remains, but their work is interrupted by the arrival of the fifth prince, Jai Ryuan. The masked man, an expert from the Zhao clan, identifies their location as the core of the hidden immortal summit's prohibition, a place that could be used for teleportation. Ryuan then reveals his purpose. The imperial court seeks a secret art, the art of mainland unification, but it has tragically fallen into the hands of a thief from the Tei sect. The masked man internally scoffs, realizing the prince is referring to his own senior brother, Bai Chuan. Before Ryuan can formally request his help, a new challenger emerges, Chun Yangzi, who blocks their path with a smug grin. He declares that the fifth prince won't be returning, as he has a score to settle with the fellow Taoist, and wishes to test his thunder art against the one he's cultivated his entire life. The masked man tries to demur, suggesting they not fight, but Chun Yangzi refuses to listen, launching an attack. Left with no choice, the masked man accepts the duel, and the two masters of thunder clash in a blinding explosion of energy. The force of their battle is too much for the prohibition's core, and Ryuan and his guard are caught in the ensuing chaos, with Ryuan screaming for his attendant to hold on as they are swallowed by light. Elsewhere, Bai Chuan suddenly clutches his head in pain. Sensing the disturbance, as he struggles, a mysterious veiled woman appears, warning him that if he continues to use his true Kai, he will suffer a fatal Kai deviation. She offers a trade, a pill that can grant him immediate recovery in exchange for a token that will let her watch the game of Go. She mocks his current weakness, telling him he's only seeking death, but Bai Chuan defiantly takes the deal. The woman leaves the pill, musing that she hopes the endgame will restore her husband's potential before vanishing. Ryuan awakens in a strange, starry void, recognizing it as the center of the prohibition. He realizes he must obtain authority over the place to escape, and the instructions are clear. Correctly arrange 100 stone tablets within 100 moves, with only a single chance to succeed. The pressure is immense, and he remembers his master's dire prediction that this trip would lead to his death. He also recalls the final gift his master gave him, a secret spell that would cost 7 years of his lifespan. With his back against the wall, Ryuan decides this is the only time to use it. Activating the 7 stars life-extending lamp technique, the spell grants him a protective formation for 70 breaths, just enough time to solve the puzzle. If he fails, he dies. Meanwhile, Bai Chuan senses the activation of the life-extending spell and is struck with panic, knowing Ryuan is in grave danger. He explodes with newfound power, roaring for all the soldiers around him to die. Ryuan, sweating under the pressure, counts down the final moves of the puzzle. He places the last tablet just in time, sighing in relief. But his victory is short-lived. The first puzzle was merely a prelude. A second, far more complex puzzle with 500 stone tablets materializes before him. Despair washes over him. He knows he doesn't have enough time. With no other choice, he resorts to the second forbidden spell his master taught him, a technique to peek into the heavens' will at the cost of 15 years of his life. His eyes bleed as he performs the ritual, but in his vision, he makes a shocking discovery. The expert from the Zhao clan is Zhao Wuji, a man he believed to be long dead. He recognizes the unmistakable aura of the purple star. As his life-extending lamps begin to flicker out one by one, Ryuan races against the encroaching darkness, using his newfound insight to rapidly arrange the chaotic tablets. Outside, his guard Si Mahong fends off shadowy creatures, hearing the prince's frantic order not to let them destroy the formation. With his final breath of borrowed time, Ryuan solves the puzzle. A voice echoes through the summit, announcing that all intruders will soon be teleported out. Ryuan collapses, the secret art in his hands, but as he absorbs its knowledge, his face twists in horror. It is an ominous art fueled by blood sacrifice, designed to perpetuate war. He realizes with cold dread that this power must never reach the ambitious Jai. His guard begs him not to destroy it, but Ryuin is resolute. He must do it himself, even if it means leaving the protective formation and dying. Recalling his vow to do what is correct and confirmed, he prepares for the ultimate sacrifice. He drives a knife through his own hand, ready to use his blood to destroy the cursed text. But just as he raises the blade, Mahang, his trusted guard, impales him from behind. The guard whispers an apology, explaining that while the emperor trusted him, Ryuin's defiance and cooperation with the Zhao clan sealed his fate. To protect Ryuin's reputation, he will frame another. Mahang then bellows for all to hear that the fifth prince was murdered by Zhao Wuji of the Zhao clan. At that very moment, Bai Chuan arrives, feeling Ryuin's life force extinguish. Consumed by grief and rage, his body erupts in demonic energy as he screams Zhao Wuji's name. The teleportation completes, and Mahang finds himself facing a very much alive Zhao Wuji, who seems amused by the sudden accusation. Mahang, enraged, calls him a lackey and attacks, only to be effortlessly slammed into a wall. Zhao Wuji approaches the fallen prince, noting that half his soul has already scattered, making him impossible to save. He spares the guard's life for now, cryptically stating that Jai Xinghe would betray even his own brother. As his allies appear, Zhao Wuji unmasks himself, revealing his true identity with a smirk. He announces that the Zhao clan is plotting a rebellion and coolly orders his men to capture them. Zhao Wuji realizes in a flash of insight that they've been teleported out of Hidden Immortal, a consequence of the fifth prince being freed before his untimely demise. Immediately, a hostile confrontation erupts. A pompous official sneers at the Zhao family's loyalty, accusing them of deception and rebellion. A general steps forward, volunteering to personally relieve His Majesty of the arrogant boy's presence. However, a more formidable figure, Mahang, steps forward, his voice dripping with venom as he recalls a previous clash where Zhao Wuji slashed him with a sword. With a wicked grin, Mahang reveals his trap, a powerful formation that can weaken even a land immortal to half their strength. Confident in his scheme, he delegates the task to an old man named Grandpa Hai and steps back to watch the show. Grandpa Hai lunges forward with a fiery attack, but Zhao Wuji dodges with contemptuous ease, his form a mere blur. He retaliates instantly, striking the old man and sending him hurtling through the air. Grandpa Hai is thrown into utter shock, coughing as he realizes Zhao Wuji possesses the physical might of a young immortal realm cultivator, a terrifying level of power. The emperor's official screams that Zhao Wuji is a rebel, but before he can finish, Zhao Wuji lunges, only to be stopped by the emperor himself, who declares he will not avoid the attacks of traitors. A minister advises a tactical retreat, warning that they face two young immortal cultivators, but the emperor refuses to budge. Just as the situation reaches a stalemate, Zhao Wuji's companions appear beside him. He asks how they escaped, and his masked companion theorizes that the fifth prince must have destroyed the formation's restriction upon breaking out. Seeing the odds turn against him, the emperor makes a desperate call, ordering his general Tianya Zai to prepare a formation to stimulate the soldiers' blood energy, a suicide tactic that will result in a lose-lose situation. The general's protests are met with a cold, unwavering command. The chaos is interrupted by a panicked scout reporting that an army under the Zhao Zai banner is marching on the capital. The emperor's face contorts with rage at this ultimate betrayal, and with gritted teeth, he finally gives the order to withdraw the troops. Elsewhere, a sinister ritual is underway, with young children arranged in a circle. The high priest coughs, impatient for the third princess to arrive with the original fetus that will cure his illness. Suddenly, a dark portal tears open and the white-haired princess emerges. The high priest greets her, but when it becomes clear she has failed, his subordinate Jin Tong becomes enraged, accusing her of toying with them. The high priest orders Jin Tong to act, demanding a pledge for her failure. Jin Tong begins a dark incantation, his body twisting and contorting as he channels the power of the Taiyan god, transforming into a grotesque monster. The creature attacks the princess, but its monstrous arm is caught mid-swing by an unexpected arrival, Zhao Wuji. The beast, enraged, lunges again, but Zhao Wuji is faster, impaling Jin Tong through the chest and ending his corrupted life. As the monster collapses, the princess decides it's time to leave, activating a talisman that opens another portal for their escape. They vanish, leaving Zhao Wuji behind. He and his masked companion are both stunned by this turn of events. His companion realizes they were teleported away from the Huang mansion, deducing they were colluding with someone named Old Huang. She then spots Zhao Wuji holding a grotesque, pulsating heart, all that remains of Jin Tong. She recoils in disgust, but Zhao Wuji examines the ritual traces and realizes with dawning horror that the Taiyan evil sect is involved. The revelation triggers a painful memory from his past life. The scene shifts to a brothel where Zhao Wuji and a cloaked friend are abruptly interrupted by a furious young woman, his sister. She demands to know why he's in a brothel instead of coming home. He tries to explain, but she refuses to listen, grabbing his sword. To prove his identity, he removes his mask, leaving her utterly speechless. He explains that his companion is just a powerful but foolish amnesiac he found on Hidden Immortal Peak. His sister scoffs, thinking that for her brother to call someone strong, this amnesiac must be a land immortal. The amnesiac, ignoring them, spots the woman in pink and cries out for a flower. She, confused, offers a sachet which he eagerly snatches. Inside, he finds the yawn-dissolving flower seed he was looking for. He combines the seed with the monstrous heart, which miraculously blooms into a vibrant red flower pulsing with life energy. He then offers the flower to Zhao Wuji, his brother, telling him to eat it. Recognizing the immense power within, Zhao Wuji and the amnesiac sit down to cultivate and absorb its energy. Watching them, his sister is astounded by their terrifyingly fast progress. Snapping herself out of her thoughts, she resolves to return to the southern border without delay. Meanwhile, Zhao Wuji's body absorbs the flower's essence, his heart glowing red as he heals completely. He stands up, his flesh now tougher than ordinary steel, and tells the amnesiac to keep the remaining seeds for a future raid on the Taiyan evil sect. He then declares he's taking his friend home. In another room, the princess is forcing down bitter medicine when Zhao Wuji suddenly appears behind her. Amused that his wife is being so obedient, he drops a pill into her bowl, but her face twists in rage. In a blur of motion, she tackles him, pressing a dagger to his throat, mistaking him for her attendant, Yuan Jai. Stunned, he asks how she knows him, but she denies it, spitting that she'd never be interested in someone so weak. He frantically apologizes, calling it an accident and proclaiming his loyalty. Flustered, she orders him to leave, but he tries to calm her, still calling her wife. When her attendant questions the term, he dismisses her, and the princess orders the attendant out as well. Alone, he admits he missed her, and she reluctantly lets him off the hook. He then pulls out a sachet and asks if she made it herself. She freezes, seeing the shattered heavenly secret talisman inside. She internally panics, wondering how the talisman her mother gave her broke, but decides Jinyu is an ordinary person who doesn't need to know the truth, that it protects the one she loves. She wonders if its destruction means her wish will finally come true. He apologizes for breaking it, and she just calls him a fool. He happily promises to always wear what she gave him. Patting her head gently, he says he must leave, as he's still technically a prisoner, and she softly tells him to take care. After he's gone, she summons Yuan Jai, questioning how she only recognized him after he was restrained. The attendant admits she didn't notice him at all. The princess falls silent, pondering if her husband is truly as ordinary as he seems. Zhao Wuji, meanwhile, returns to his father's residence by climbing through the window, startling his sister. She informs him that their father knows everything and wants to know if Zhao Wuji is truly alive. He clarifies that it was a case of mistaken identity by Sima Hong. Their father, overwhelmed with emotion, reveals the truth. His eldest son, Wuji, was peerless and was conspired against by the first and third pillars of state. He vows that vengeance will be theirs. Zhao Wuji's sister promises to bide her time. Their father, brimming with confidence, boasts about deploying an army near the capital and tells her to simply watch the show. She leaves, promising to handle the madman Duke before he destroys her residence. Her father tells her to return if she needs help, but she leaps away, declaring that in this realm she is invincible. Deep in the woods, she senses a presence and braces herself as a beam of light descends. It's the white-haired princess. The sister unleashes a thunder attack, a trick the princess recognizes and deflects. A furious battle ensues, with the princess crying out Zhao Wuji's name in rage. She holds a sword to the princess's throat, but the princess furiously declares she has nothing to say to the one who killed Brother Yuan. The sister realizes the misunderstanding as the princess begins to self-destruct. Just as her power spirals out of control, an ancient Tao pattern appears, suppressing the violent energy and saving them both. The amnesiac rushes to his sister's side, confused. The sister tells him she has a way to revive the fifth prince, revealing his remnant soul is inside the sword. The princess touches the blade, sensing Brother Yuan's presence, and collapses in relief. The sister smirks, stating that now they can negotiate. Later, as his sister prepares to leave for the palace, their father is met by a throng of officials begging him not to attend court. He ignores their pleas, mounts his horse, and proudly declares he's no damn noble son, ordering a tearful official to hold his horse as he leads his army through the city streets. Watching from a rooftop, the amnesiac marvels at the old man's hidden depths and decides he must join him to protect him, leaping down to join the procession. In the heart of the imperial court, Duke Zhao Chengwu strides toward the throne with an unnerving calm, his presence a silent challenge to the young emperor. Before he can even greet his majesty, an indignant official barks at him, questioning how he dares enter the palace armed and without kneeling. Unfazed, Chenggu coolly reminds the court that his privileges were granted by the late emperor, masterfully implying that to condemn him is to condemn the new emperor as unfilial. The emperor, barely containing his fury, accuses Duke Dingguo of intimidation, but Chenggu merely offers a placid smile, claiming his loyalty shines as bright as the sun. This is the last straw. The emperor slams his fist on the throne, roaring that Chenggu's loyalty is a sham, accusing him of deploying troops near the capital and coercing officials to attend court with him. Chenggu effortlessly deflects the accusations, explaining the troops were simply numerous messengers and his meeting with Minister Lai was pure coincidence. The emperor, though shaken, presents a memorial scroll listing a litany of heinous crimes, sheltering rebels, colluding with barbarians, and even murdering the fifth prince. With a dismissive smile, Chenggu states he needs no defense, as pretext can always be found to accuse a man. The court erupts, demanding his execution, but the emperor offers a deal. Hand over his son-in-law Jinyu and all will be forgiven. Instead of complying, Chenggu simply states that the matter of Wuji's life should be posed to the first pillar of state. Finally losing patience, the emperor sentences the stubborn duke to imprisonment in Dali Temple. As officials plead for the respected duke, whose absence will destabilize the border, the emperor's Taoist master steps forward. He apologizes for the offense before unleashing a magical golden rope to bind Chenggu. But in a flash of impossible speed, a single leaf slices through the immortal's artifact, stunning the entire court. Before anyone can process the display of power, a messenger bursts in with an urgent report. The Wu barbarians have invaded, and 100,000 border troops have rebelled, slaying their commander. The emperor reels in disbelief, his careful plans crumbling into chaos, yet Chenggu, ever the strategist, uses the moment to casually ask for his son's release to proceed with his wedding. Meanwhile, his other son, the troubled Zhao Wuji, is being comforted by his brother, his mind lost to a ravenous hunger. Back in the palace, the emperor's true motives are revealed in a dark memory of his dying father's final, venomous command: to kill Zhao Chenggu and destroy his entire clan. His father admitted to being a throne stealer and warned that the Zhao family must be eliminated to secure their rule. The two Taoists who serve the emperor plot to fulfill this wish, planning to frame Wuji for murder to bring down the Zhao family from within. At the Dingguo estate, Chenggu enjoys a quiet moment with his son, Jinyu, explaining why they cannot simply flee to the border and become rebels. He speaks of a greater threat, immortals watching from beyond the heavens, and reveals the origin of Wuji's legendary overlord spear, a gift from an immortal he can barely remember. Jinyu, filled with youthful confidence, declares he will solve all their problems and asks to postpone his wedding to go to the Wuman tribe. After his father refuses, Jinyu defiantly announces he's going to the southern border anyway, planning to act like a spoiled brat to achieve his goals. That night, as his sister Zhao Rushuang departs with her troops, Jinyu is confronted by a prince who begs to join her quest. Amused by his persistence after her initial refusal, she ties him to her horse with a rope and gallops away, deciding to be a troublemaker just like her brother. 3 days later, Chenggu receives a letter from his audacious son, who has not gone to the border but has instead eloped with the princess Luozhu. Chenggu fumes, but Jinyu's plan is already in motion. He and Luozhu have lured the lord of Juxing Mountain to the capital, ensuring any harm that befalls the duke will be blamed on him. Upon arriving in Jianghuai City, Jinyu reassures the princess that he will protect her. Back at the estate, Chenggu learns the full, terrifying truth. Jinyu has not only been framed but has intentionally provoked an ancient, undead entity from Juxing Mountain. Desperate, Chenggu's brother begs him to contact the powerful but unstable Zhu Huan for aid. Chenggu's face darkens as he delivers grim news. Their old acquaintance Lion Mei is dead. At the same time, the disgraced national advisor, Tianyazi, departs the capital, seeking out Zhu Huan himself to settle an old score. He finds his old mentor, the Mountain Lord, who has been waiting for him, and asks a single question about Zhao Wuji. In Jianghuai City, chaos erupts as the Taiyan cult begins a bizarre ritual, their dark energy causing terrifying delusions. Jinyu's companion, the big dummy, falls under its sway, but Jinyu recognizes the cult's handiwork. He dons a mask just as a hooded pillared general appears, offering her knowledge of the cult to aid him. The cultists summon their guardian deity, Wu Gong, a monstrous entity surrounded by skeletons. The pillared general warns that fighting the undying creature is futile and they should flee, but Jinyu sees an opportunity. To her absolute horror, Jinyu's companion transforms into a ravenous beast and attacks Wu Gong, tearing at its flesh. Jinyu joins the fray, slicing off a piece of the monster and devouring it, nonchalantly mentioning that the flesh of a true god he ate before tasted quite good. The pillar general can only stare, dumbfounded at the beastly young man. Their battle is interrupted as another cultist, his plans ruined, is vaporized by a flash of blue energy. A second cultist, panicking at the loss, tries to sacrifice a child, but is violently kicked away by a masked woman who curses her subordinate's failure. The disgraced Lord Lin, caught in the crossfire, tries to summon a blood spirit but is struck down. He uses a blood offering to plead for escape, only to run straight into Luo Zhu, who finds the crying baby left behind in the carnage. The silver-haired high priestess calmly remarks that this development saves her the stress of explaining the chaos to her husband. Before snatching a tiny messenger bird from the air, she instructs the creature to find its master and let him deal with the meddling kids responsible for this mess. The bird squeaks in terror as she grips it, her eyes flashing with a cold light as she warns it to never speak a word of her presence to anyone. With a final dismissive command, she sends the trembling creature on its way. Elsewhere, a battle has clearly just concluded, leaving young Master Zhao to face the aftermath. He stands beside the High Priestess, who deduces that their target escaped because someone destroyed the summoning altar. She quietly wonders who in Jianghuai City has the skill to interfere with the Zhao family's grand military plans. The creature they were hunting, Wu Gong, has escaped, leaving one of their monstrous companions to whine about not getting to eat. Young Master Zhao tells him to stand down, but the creature suddenly announces it can sense which way Wu Gong fled. An order is given to chase it down, but the High Priestess decides against it, knowing they are short on time and the Lord of Juxing Mountain's return is uncertain. Declaring the matter over, she turns to leave, only to be stopped by a winged girl who brings urgent news. She excitedly reports that the clan has approved the High Priestess's request. They will break tradition and awaken the Gu God for her, using a living soul to grant her godhood. Young Master Zhao is overjoyed, realizing this means there is still hope for UNG. A flicker of determination crosses the High Priestess's face, but she has one more piece of grim news. She reveals a strange and bloody ritual she discovered in the eastern part of the city, where countless people have died near a statue. Her masked subordinate immediately suspects the Taiyan cult is involved, a suspicion the High Priestess confirms might be true. They are led to the site of the massacre, a horrifying scene of frozen bodies and ritualistic death. The masked girl explains to a stunned Zhao that the cult's followers are twisted beyond salvation, willing to sacrifice anyone for their god. The High Priestess adds that they've lost all humanity, noting the presence of an official's robes on one of the bodies. The implications are staggering. She realizes with dawning horror that the Emperor himself must be colluding with the very cult UNG was tasked to destroy. As she scans the dead, she finds the bodies of children, identifying them as mortal vessels for the 20. But notices one is missing. Just then, her winged attendant points out another child, a little girl, badly injured but still alive. The High Priestess can see that a righteous person intervened, dressing the girl's wounds and saving her life. She wonders what to do with these infants, and Zhao explains they have unique fates, capable of becoming exceptional if raised correctly, revealing that many of the Juxing Mountain sect's greatest disciples came from similar tragic beginnings. A memory surfaces of him presenting 2 foundling infants to his wife, who teasingly asks if he plans to bring them along on their elopement. He reassures her that his family is coming to collect them, his fondness for children clear as his wife suggests they have one of their own someday. But the past offers no easy solution for the present. When the family retainers finally arrive, they approach the princess with grim faces, apologizing profusely as they declare they cannot take the child with them.